Imagine this. You're standing at the edge of a cliff, the wind howling around you, the ground crumbling beneath your feet. Every self-help book, every motivational speaker, every well-meaning friend has told you to think positively, to visualize success, to believe that everything will be okay. But as you stare into the abyss, you can't shake the feeling that positivity is a lie. The cliff doesn't care about your affirmations. The fall looms, cold and inevitable, and no amount of wishful thinking will hold the earth together. In fact, the harder you try to force a smile, the heavier reality presses down on you until your chest tightens and your breath catches. What if, in this moment, the power doesn't lie in positivity, but in embracing the negative? What if the key to survival isn't to deny the danger, but to stare it down? You've been taught that positivity is the golden road to happiness and success, a shimmering mantra repeated so often it's etched into the fabric of your mind. But what if that's a half-truth, a comforting story that crumbles under scrutiny? What if negativity, raw and unfiltered, holds a strength that positivity can never touch? What if the greatest minds, the most unshakable souls, the truest visionaries, are those who dare to step into the shadows and see them for what they are? Have you ever felt it? That creeping suspicion that your attempts at positivity are just a flimsy mask? You paste on a grin, recite your gratitude list, pin your hopes on a vision board, yet deep down, a gnawing unease festers. Why does it linger, that quiet ache, despite all your efforts to banish it? Could it be that the real power isn't in burying the negative, but in letting it rise to the surface, unapologetic and alive? This isn't a comfortable thought. For most of us, negative thinking feels like a forbidden door. Crack it open, and out spill doubts, fears, insecurities. A flood we've been trained to dam up. Society demands you shove them aside, focus on the bright side, count your blessings until the darkness fades. But what if that's the trap? What if, by silencing those jagged thoughts, you're cutting off a vital piece of yourself? Something primal, something necessary for growth, something that whispers truths positivity can't hear. Picture yourself again at that cliff. Not just any cliff, but the edge of your own existence. The ground giving way isn't just dirt and stone, it's the foundation of your life buckling under pressure. Maybe it's the job you've poured years into, now slipping through your fingers. Maybe it's the relationship you thought was unbreakable, fracturing before your eyes. Or maybe it's the version of yourself you've clung to, suddenly unrecognizable in the mirror. In these moments, positivity feels like a cruel taunt. How do you summon optimism when the diagnosis lands like a hammer, when betrayal cuts like a blade, when failure strips you bare? Yet, here's the twist. It's precisely when the world cracks open that negative thinking becomes your unlikely savior. When you stop pretending everything's fine, when you let yourself imagine the worst, feel the weight, taste the fear, something shifts. The paralysis loosens. You start to see the fault lines, the escape routes, the stark reality you'd blurred with hopeful haze. Negative thinking isn't surrender. It's the courage to face the storm with eyes wide open. Look at Winston Churchill, standing amid the rubble of a war-torn Britain. He didn't peddle rosy promises. He offered blood, toil, tears, and sweat. His refusal to gloss over the grim truth didn't break his people. It forged them into steel. Or consider the Stoics, those ancient philosophers who stared loss in the face daily, picturing their homes burned, their loved ones gone. Pessimists? Hardly. They were architects of resilience, building lives unshaken by fate's whims. What if you could wield that same power? What if embracing the negative didn't drag you down, but lifted you up, turning dread into determination, uncertainty into clarity? What if the path to authentic strength winds not through sunlit fields, but through the shadowed valley of doubt? This journey isn't for the timid. To lean into negative thinking is to defy a culture obsessed with brightness, to risk the raised eyebrows and whispered judgments of those who cling to cheer. It's to confront the parts of yourself you've buried, the anger, the grief, the quiet terror, and ask what they're trying to teach you. But the prize is immense, a mind sharpened by truth, a spirit tempered by struggle, a life rooted in something deeper than fleeting optimism. In the depths of your soul, a paradox hums, a truth we've been conditioned to smother. Negativity isn't a flaw to fix, but a force to claim. It's a riddle that upends everything you've learned, and it's this riddle we'll chase in the pages ahead. Why does negativity grip us so fiercely? What unseen currents, psychological, philosophical, human, fuel its quiet might? Have you ever noticed how negativity clings to your mind like a shadow, refusing to let go, while positivity slips through your grasp like sand? You wake up determined to focus on the good, a kind word, a small victory, a fleeting moment of peace. But by nightfall, it's the criticism, the mistake, the nagging worry that lingers. Why does the negative feel so much heavier, so much more real than the positive? Why does it sink its teeth into you and refuse to let go? This isn't a personal failing. It's a hidden force, etched into your psyche by evolution, psychology, philosophy, and the world around you. It shapes how you perceive reality, how you judge yourself, and how you move through life. We're often told to suppress it, to plaster over it with forced optimism. But what if that's the real mistake? What if ignoring the roots of our negativity only amplifies its power, letting it pull the strings from the shadows? Let's uncover the truth. Your brain is a product of survival, built for a world where danger was ever present. Thousands of years ago, your ancestors couldn't afford to linger on the positive. They had to notice the negative, the snap of a twig that might mean a predator, the bitter taste that could spell death. Those who fixated on threats lived to pass on their genes. Those who didn't. This is the origin of the negativity bias, a mental habit that makes negative experiences stick, while positive ones fade. Studies show it takes 5 positive events to offset one negative one. A single harsh comment can drown out a dozen praises. A close call can haunt you for hours. Your brain is always scanning for danger, even when you're safe. It's not a flaw, it's your wiring. Then there's confirmation bias, where your mind seeks evidence to back up what it already believes. If you think you're not enough, your brain will spotlight every misstep, every slight, feeding a cycle that's hard to break. The more you resist, the tighter it grips. Philosophy takes us deeper. Arthur Schopenhauer saw life as a relentless push of the will to live, a blind drive that chases desires, only to find pain when they're met or unmet. For him, negativity isn't an accident, it's the core of existence. To live is to suffer, and pretending otherwise is self-deception. Friedrich Nietzsche offered a twist with his will to power. He believed humans strive to assert themselves, often through negative emotions like envy or resentment. But Nietzsche didn't fear this darkness. He saw it as a crucible. "What doesn't kill me makes me stronger," he said, suggesting negativity could forge resilience if faced head-on. Carl Jung, meanwhile, introduced the shadow, the hidden, often negative parts of ourselves we deny. Anger, fear, doubt. These aren't enemies, but pieces of you. Ignore them, and they rule you from the unconscious. Embrace them, and you find balance. For Jung, wholeness comes from integrating the dark, not banishing it. It's not just your mind or old thinkers at play. Society fuels this fire. The media thrives on negativity. Knowing fear and outrage hook you better than hope. Social media turns life into a comparison game, amplifying your insecurities. Advertising preys on your doubts, selling fixes for flaws you didn't know you had. And then there's individualism, the idea that you alone must craft your happiness. When you fail to choose joy, you're left feeling defective, your struggles invalid. This pressure to be positive doesn't free you, it traps you, letting negativity fester in silence. Here's the risk. By dodging the roots of your negativity, you let it steer your life. It's the voice that keeps you stuck, the fear that stifles your dreams. Unseen and unchecked, it festers, turning potential into regret. But what if you could face it? What if you could understand and wield it, not just endure it? That's where we're headed. First though, you need to see how this force doesn't just live in your head. It ripples out, shaping your world in ways you've yet to grasp. The consequences are darker and more profound than you might suspect. Imagine you're standing at a pivotal moment in your life, a career leap, a relationship milestone, or a daring risk that could redefine your future. You've analyzed the options and the way forward seems promising. But then, a quiet doubt slips in. What if I fail? What if I'm not enough? What if this unravels everything? That small thought doesn't stay small. It grows, spiraling into a storm of self-doubt that drowns out logic and courage. In the end, you don't move forward. You stay put, safe but stagnant, watching the opportunity fade, Does this ring a bell? This is negativity's unseen power at play. It's not just a fleeting feeling, it's a force that reshapes your reality, often without you noticing. It steers your choices, strains your relationships, and narrows your world. And it's not just you, it's all of us, caught in a web spun by biology, psychology, and society, with consequences that ripple far beyond the individual. Your brain is built to prioritize the negative. It's called the negativity bias, a survival relic that makes you hyper-aware of threats. But in modern life, this wiring doesn't just spot danger. It amplifies doubt and fear, reshaping how you think. Every time you linger on a negative thought, your brain reinforces those neural pathways, like a river carving deeper into rock. Over time, it's harder to shift to hope or confidence. Think about it. One cutting remark can eclipse a dozen kind words. Your brain clings to the sting, replaying it while praise slips away. Studies back this up. Negative experiences trigger more brain activity, embedding themselves deeper than positive ones. A great day can be undone by one misstep, and that's what sticks with you at night. This isn't a flaw in you, it's your brain's design. But left unchecked, it erodes your self-belief, making you cautious, hesitant, and prone to settling. Negativity doesn't stay contained, it spills into your connections. Emotional contagion means your mood spreads, subtly or not. A bad day leads to a sharp word with your partner, sparking tension that wasn't there before. At work, your stress can unsettle your team, stifling their energy. You don't mean to do it, but negativity leaks out, coloring every interaction. And because of that same negativity bias, people remember your low moments more than your highs. One outburst can overshadow months of kindness, skewing how others see you. This can trap relationships in cycles of mistrust or distance, even when that's not your goal. Zoom out, and the stakes get bigger. When negativity grips a society, it distorts everything. History shows this in moral panics. Think witch hunts or modern fear-driven conspiracies, where collective dread warps reality and drives drastic action. Politically, fear fuels division, shutting down reason as people cling to comforting biases. Your brain's fear center, the amygdala, takes over, sidelining logic. Even economies bend to this force. Widespread pessimism about a downturn can spark one. People stop spending, markets falter, and the prophecy fulfills itself. Negativity doesn't just mirror the world, it molds it, often destructively. Why is this so hard to escape? Cognitive biases lock it in place. The availability heuristic makes vivid negatives, like a news headline about disaster, feel more likely, skewing your sense of risk. Confirmation bias keeps you hunting for proof of your fears, spotlighting failures while dismissing wins. Together, they build a mental cage where negativity thrives. Negativity isn't a quirk, it's a trap, shrinking your life and warping the world. But here's the twist. It's not invincible. What if you could turn its strength into yours, using it to sharpen your edge and break free? The possibility is real, but it starts with seeing the trap clearly. Its roots in your mind and beyond. Are you ready to face it, to stare into the shadows and unravel their hold? The next step isn't easy, but it's where freedom begins. Imagine standing at the edge of a cliff, the wind howling around you, the ground crumbling beneath your feet. Every instinct screams to step back, to retreat to the safety of forced smiles and empty affirmations. But what if instead you leaned forward? What if you let the fear, the doubt, the darkness wash over you? And in that raw, unguarded moment, something shifted. A spark of clarity ignites. A strange sense of control takes root. This isn't defeat, it's the first act of rebellion. Welcome to a new way of thinking, where negativity isn't your enemy, but a tool to break free. You've been taught to suppress it, to bury it under layers of positivity, to treat it like a flaw that needs fixing. But the harder you push it away, the louder it roars. What if the real mistake isn't feeling negative, it's fighting it? What if the key to your freedom lies in stepping into the darkness, eyes wide open, ready to wield its power? This is where the rebellion begins. The poet John Keats called it negative capability, the rare gift of sitting with uncertainty, of holding space for doubt without scrambling for answers. In a world that demands certainty at every turn, this is your act of defiance. It's not about drowning in despair, It's about refusing to flinch from life's messiness. It's the courage to stand in the storm and find strength in its chaos. Think of it like mental judo. Instead of resisting negativity, you lean into its momentum, letting it propel you forward. When you stop running from the dark, you start to see what it reveals, paths and possibilities that positivity's blinding glare can never uncover. Psychology offers a toolkit to turn this mindset into action. Cognitive reframing lets you take a negative thought and flip it on its head. Instead of, "I'm going to fail," you tell yourself, "Failure is just feedback." It's not denial, it's a shift in perspective that turns a weight into a weapon. Then there's acceptance and commitment therapy, which dares you to stop battling your emotions and start embracing them. The point isn't to feel better, it's to feel everything, to let negativity rise without breaking you. You don't need to banish fear to move forward. You just need to trust yourself to carry it with grace. Look to the past, and you'll find those who turn their shadows into strength. Abraham Lincoln, haunted by what he called melancholy, didn't flee his pain. He channeled it into an empathy that shaped a nation. Frida Kahlo took her physical and emotional suffering and painted it into art that still burns with life. These weren't people who denied their negativity. They harnessed it, letting it drive their creativity and resilience. Could it be that the thoughts you've tried to silence hold the same potential for you? Ready to join them? Here are 3 ways to turn negativity into power. Journal with a twist. Write your negative thoughts, raw and unfiltered. Then dig deeper. What truth lurks in this fear? What opportunity hides in this doubt? Is it a warning to heed or a lie to dismantle? This isn't self-pity, it's excavation, pulling gold from the shadows. Visualize the worst ditch, the think positive cliché. Picture the worst case scenario in vivid detail. Feel its sting, its weight. Then ask, what's my next move? How do I rise from this? This isn't gloom, it's strategy. By facing the worst, you rob it of its terror and build a resilience positivity can't touch. Befriend your shadow. List the traits you hate in yourself: anger, envy, insecurity. Now, flip the script. How can they serve you? Anger might guard your boundaries. Envy might reveal your desires. Stop fighting your shadow, and it becomes an ally, making you whole. We're trapped in a culture that peddles happiness like a drug, where positivity is king and negativity is a sin. But this is a lie, a flimsy shield against life's storms. The pressure to stay positive can gag your humanity, leaving you fragile and unprepared. Dare to defy it. What if chasing constant happiness is what's holding you back? What if real strength comes from embracing the full spectrum, light and dark, joy and pain? This rebellion isn't just against negativity, it's against a world that tells you to feel half alive. This is your moment. By daring to embrace the darkness, you're not just surviving, you're thriving. Your shadows become allies, your doubts become drivers, your fears become fuel. But this is only the start. There's a deeper truth on the horizon, one that will reshape not just how you see negativity, but how you see reality itself. Are you ready to step into it? Picture yourself standing at the edge of a cliff, the wind howling, the ground crumbling beneath your feet. Every instinct screams to retreat, to cling to the safety of forced smiles and empty affirmations. But what if instead you leaned forward? What if you let the fear, the doubt, the darkness wash over you? And in that raw, unguarded moment, something shifted. A spark of clarity ignites. A strange sense of control takes root. This isn't defeat, it's revelation. Welcome to the ultimate truth. Negativity isn't your enemy, it's your greatest teacher. You've been told that negativity is a thief, stealing your joy and dimming your light. But what if it's the opposite? What if negativity is the light, piercing through the fog of delusion, showing you the world as it truly is? In its harsh glare, you see not just the flaws and the fears, but the beauty and the strength that lie beneath. It's not here to break you, it's here to reveal you. Think back to a moment when everything fell apart. A loss, a failure, a betrayal. In that darkness, you felt broken, but you also felt alive, raw, real, and strangely powerful. That's the gift of negativity. It strips away the masks and leaves you standing in your truth. Life is not a neatly scripted story with a happy ending. It's a wild, unpredictable ride, full of twists and turns, highs and lows. Negativity is part of that ride. It's the steep drop that makes the climb worthwhile, the shadow that defines the light. To reject it is to reject life itself. Here's the ultimate truth. Negativity is not a flaw to overcome, but a necessary part of the human experience. It's the voice that tells you when something's wrong, the fire that fuels your fight, the mirror that shows you who you really are. When you stop running from it, you start living authentically. You become whole, not in spite of your darkness, but because of it. So, the next time negativity knocks on your door, don't slam it shut. Invite it in, sit with it, listen to what it has to say. It might just be the wisest teacher you'll ever have. And in its lessons, you'll find not just survival, but a life lived fully, fiercely, and freely. Remember that cliff? In that moment, positivity felt like a lie, but negativity felt like truth. And truth, no matter how harsh, is what sets you free. Embrace it, and you'll find that the fall isn't the end. It's the beginning of a new journey, one where you're no longer afraid of the dark because you've learned to see in it.